That's DeFi space, and I am here to help you build real crypto skills and avoid paying the expensive crypto tuition like I did. If you're into crypto, DeFi, altcoins, yield farming that actually works, this video will be for you. Today's strategy is a good one, but remember, none of this today is financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own research and never invest more than you can afford to lose. Enough of the introductions. Let's get to today's video. We are going to get into our Ethereum beta plays and how to position for this final phase of the bull run. So this is the article for my beta plays. It was published a few days ago. Excuse me. Now, I truly believe that retail is selling. Institutions, they are stacking ETH. And the thing is Ethereum flipped the script between Bitcoin and ETH. Which one is going to be the big dog? Thing is Bitcoin is always the big dog. Ethereum just gets to shine here and there. And I personally believe that it's been Ethereum's time to shine, and that is going to continue probably until the end of the cycle. Although if we have any dips, profits do rotate back into Bitcoin. That is something to take into consideration. What's even crazy is we have a US president tied to ETH. We have BlackRock, a huge institution, tied to ETH. Don't know how I feel about that, but they're still tied to ETH. And the ecosystem is probably about to go parabolic. The thing is I think we can find where the gains are hiding by looking at Ethereum beta plays over the next bit of the cycle. Now, I've talked about this twice before, and I want to make an actual dedicated video to this. But ETH is the capital magnet of the entire crypto market. And we're going to talk about how to capitalize on this. And most of this we've already talked about. But I still see Bitcoin as the market anchor. But Ethereum gets its moments. And over the last little bit, since Ethereum has jumped up in price, and this occurred back during the summer months, Ethereum pumped almost up to $5,000. ETH's strong performance paves the way for altcoins to outperform. But remember, whenever money starts to bleed back to Bitcoin, that means the altcoins bleed even more than Ethereum. Usually. Just something to consider. Now, I want to take a look at some of my favorite Ethereum beta plays. And we're going to just do this using our charts. But my first Ethereum beta play that I wanted to talk about is Link. Now, if you've been in the crypto space long enough, you know that Link is an oracle built on top of Ethereum. Okay? Chainlink, hold on one second. That is not what I wanted to pull up. Excuse me. Now, Chainlink is DeFi's data pipeline, right? So when ETH runs, Link runs. And Link had a pretty good pump and to the peak, 72%. That was a nice one. We earned a lot of fees. We took a little bit of profit, rotated back into Ethereum. It was a good one. But when it starts to outperform after this possible dip, Chainlink is going to more than likely outperform more than it has hundreds of billions of dollars of value locked into it. So I truly believe with real world assets like rising and people getting very bullish on real world assets, Chainlink's oracle is going to be even more vital. Also, with the increase in DEX volume and DEX trading, you need oracles in Chainlink and PIF. Just something to think about. So one of our first tokens, ETH beta plays, Chainlink. Now, let's talk about our next one. Now, this one is probably the largest play that's going to be not as risky play as some of the others. This layer 2 network has been around for quite a while. We were investing last bull market a little bit, and that's Arbitrum. Now, the Arbitrum chart on the weekly does not look pretty at all, as you can see, right? We had a pump that started back last November. We went from 49 cents, 47 cents, up to $1.23. That's a 150% increase in ARB. When it runs, it really likes to run, but it has not been an outperformer this cycle. And at this point, we're just now getting back above the bull market support band and the 50-week moving average. So this is one that I don't have in our portfolio, that we don't have in our portfolio, but I do believe this will be a good play as an ETH beta for those who are less risky, not financial advice, of course. So it's the dominant layer 2 by total value locked. And we can go over to DeFi Llama. And if we go to all chains and look at the total value locked, we got to go back to chain metrics. Hold on. Here we go. If we look at total value locked, right? And it's divided into a lot of different market caps. You have it winning in both DeFi and bridged. Solana in second place right now. Binance Chain, Bitcoin, Base, Tron, and number 7 is Arbitrum. So minus Base, Arbitrum is the second largest layer 2. Now, and right below that, you have Hyperliquid, Avalanche, Sway, Polygon, Say Network, Linea, which is another layer 2, Aptos, Kronos, and a bunch of others. Now, what's interesting is the Arbitrum Orbit rollup is going to help Arbitrum become multi-chain, or at least interoperable with other chains. It can be a catalyst event, but we're going to have to wait and see on that one. All right, let's move on to ETH beta play number 3 that was built upon Base. You already know what I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen. If you watch this channel, that's Aerodrome Finance. Aerodrome is the largest base on DEX. It has an incentivized liquidity flywheel. If you're willing to long stake your AERO tokens, then you are allowed a portion of the protocol fees, and you get exposure to Coinbase. As much as I dislike Coinbase at times, there's a lot of volume on this chain, and I don't let my emotions get involved, or at least try not favorites. And this is a DEX. The run on Base's top DEX, being Base's top DEX, I believe that AERO, being the reward token of that DEX, is going to have hopefully an alt season like Uniswap and PancakeSwap last cycle. And they ran hard because when people start trading for the more degen coins, a lot of them have to go to DEXs. And then that means the volume increases and they make more money, price goes up. Something to think about. A lot of times money last cycle rotated from the layer, which would be ETH, Solana, AVAX, Sway, etc. And then the money flowed into beta plays and DEX plays, and then you get into smaller and smaller tokens. That is what everyone's talking about when they talk about the path to alt season. Now, Aerodrome Finance has had a nice little run recently. Now we have taken a massive dip today down to $1.21. We took a wreck on a short. We did not share this one because I was not confident enough on it, and I probably should not have taken the play yet. But we're going to stay in this one. So I would keep an eye on this. If Aerodrome starts looking bullish again, I'm going to add to this position. But if you zoom in on the chart, we're heavily above the bull market support band, and we weren't not too long ago, just a couple months. And if we go to the daily chart, we're starting to break below our moving averages. So I'm keeping a line in the sand around $1.10, because if we break below this, we could easily revisit the bull market support band at around 90 cents. Now, what I want you to consider that is bullish about Aerodrome is Aerodrome just recently integrated with Coinbase. We read an article the other day that I shared on my X profile, maybe I can bring it up, about how volume changed after Coinbase integrated Aerodrome. And they only did this with 5% of their users. There were select users that they rolled it out with. See, I must have only shared that in my Telegram group. I apologize. But the article basically said when they put 5% of their trading users on that integrated into the Coinbase's app, they had a 30% increase in Aerodrome DEX volume, and that was with 5% of a rollout. I'm very curious what's going to happen when they get to a full rollout. makes me extremely bullish on AERO minus some kind of black swan event. And we're still farming this one on VFAT and hopefully going to take advantage of some of that price appreciation. For myself, this is not in a good accumulation zone, but if we revisit down to the $1.90 region, I probably will add a little bit more AERO into my position. All right, let's move on to our next beta play. And we just published a video on this not too long ago. Check it out once you know what it is. But that one is Pendle. Now, Pendle Finance, it's had a huge dip recently. And we have just started to buy into Pendle over the last couple of weeks. So right around this area right here. This is not a token I've held, but I have done a little bit of investing, trading yield on Pendle Finance, investing in YT to farm airdrops and PTs for some fixed earn yield. We had a flywheel DeFi Solana strategy where we were able to earn a ridiculous amount of APR on our Solana. It was something like 40, 50% on a single pool position using Exponent, which is kind of Solana's version of Pendle. Should make a video about that one too. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a video on Exponent on the Solana network. But anyway, back to Pendle. Pendle Finance is a protocol that allows users to speculate on future yield. In the traditional finance space, yield derivatives they're extremely big in traditional finance. So as more and more people, especially traditional finance, come into this space, which I do believe the RWA narrative will bring more traditional finance in, Pendle will benefit from that. They are an RWA play using tokenized yields. It makes it highly compostable DeFi primitive. So in a yield-focused market, Pendle is going to earn tons of fees. And what's crazy about Pendle is their total value locked is way above the value of the token as far as its price, its market cap, etc. Which that's awesome. It's like buying a stock that's worth less than its assets. And right now, Pendle, Euler Finance, and a few other DeFi plays, they're making money and yield for that protocol. And that's the way they sit right now. So Pendle, I have no idea what's going to, and it may revisit this lower range, right? It hasn't really been around enough, at least on Coinbase, to calculate the bull market support band. So that's probably not a good indicator to use this one. But the support around $4 on the weekly, a lower support around $3.24. And hopefully we don't break lower than that, because then we're talking $2.63. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I am going to start to stack Pendle. I have already. But I have not updated that small position within my portfolio tracker. I'll have to update that one a little bit later. And that brings us to my final coin I wanted to talk about as an beta play. Now, this one actually is a meme coin. And there's a reason I put it in here. Because Pepe is the meme of this one had a massive run last cycle, as you can see. And if you take a look at the chart now, it's kind of been establishing a base between 8.9 and 1. So it's actually minus another dip, which could happen if Ethereum starts bleeding back to Bitcoin. If we get that correction everybody's talking about, could be a good time to accumulate an Ethereum beta meme coin. That's not a play that I'm going to take, but it's one that I wanted to mention. So Pepe, right? Not just a meme, but an Ethereum culture icon. It is a degen proxy for Ethereum bullishness. And when ETH rallies, the meme coin liquidity explodes. That means Pepe is going to explode. And it's probably the least risky on the Ethereum network. An argument and excellent community. It's really involved. When the market gets hot, the Pepe supporters come out of the woodwork. I will see you in the next video. And remember, so I wanted to put this one down as an Ethereum beta play. Now it is heavily down since its peak in December 2024. So this coin could have a lot of bag holders, which is going to create resistance right here, here is going to be a major realm of existence, which we haven't been back in that range since January 13th. Wow. That's a long time ago. Now, that wraps up the majority of my Ethereum beta plays I wanted to go over. Now, there are many others. And those of you all who stayed with the stream this long, I wanted to offer one more that I think could be a good play. It's a little more risky. And for those of you all who are still in the stream, you can consider this one, at least to do your own research. But this is one that we do have a position in, less than 1%, and that's Plume. Plume is another RWA play, tokenized real-world assets, and they've gotten a lot of institutional buzz. We're taking a look at the Plume chart right now, and it looks like we're trying to form a base around 7 to 8.5 cents. So anywhere between 7 cents and say 10, 11 cents, I'm working on dollar cost averaging into Plume. Plume is on the Ethereum network. And I think a lot of institutions might take a look at this Midcap play. And they've taken in a lot of total value locked during this price movement down. So I don't see this as a dead coin, although it has retraced quite a bit. Since the all-time high, this coin has retraced around 68 to 70%. But you see this with new projects. All the early investors cash out and look for better entries. So I hope the Ethereum beta plays have been quite informative today. Thanks for tuning in. And if this video helped level up your DeFi game, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. And for real-time updates, join the free Telegram group at Dad's DeFi Space. I share my quick plays, market alpha before they hit YouTube there. And if you want deeper education, and coaching, I highly recommend Crypto Labs Underdog Investment Group. It's where I sharpened my skills early on. Use my link below for 20% off your first month. And if you're trading, consider using non-KYC exchange Weeks and Blowfin. Both non-KYC offer USDT rewards for deposits and trading. Links are in the description. And yes, it does help support the channel. Lastly, grab my free crypto and DeFi crash course at Dad's DeFi Space and build your edge the smart way. Thank you again for watching. And if you got value, remember, hit that like, subscribe, and bell. I will see you in the next video. And remember, in DeFi and crypto, education is your best friend. Peace.